Nancy, first of all, thanks. Great to have you with us.
Thank
Um,
you.
Describe your feelings after having done the Golden Bachelor. Was it what you expected? Was it a surprise? How do you feel right now?
Well, it was a it was an incredible experience. It was more than I thought it would be. I'd certainly never been in that kind of a, arena, so to speak, before. And I didn't know what to expect, but I thought it would be, I don't know, I didn't know, but I loved it. And I have been, I think the word revitalized comes to mind, like just in general. I was out of my comfort zone a lot of times, and I feel great and more
What
confident.
was your expectation going in? Let me ask you that.
My expectation going into it was I would, get to meet Gerry, talk to him, get to know him better. I think the only thing that I regret is not getting to do those things, unless you get a one-on-one date,
Yes.
you really don't get to spend the quality time I think that you need to really get to know him. But we, had group dates, which was fun. And he's a really great guy. And I know he was in a tough position to have so many women.
It's
Although that may not be tough.
the good news, bad news part of this whole thing,
Correct.
I suspect. We'll talk about it when Gerry said, geez, it's been great, but this isn't the direction you're probably going to want it to go in. How did you feel then?
Well, what precipitated that was I had an ankle or like a fibia tear on my my fibia from pickleball. I didn't fall or anything, but I tore a muscle, and I was in a boot. They thought it was a stress fracture. Anyway, so I had the boot on for 2 days, and then they told me that I would be wearing the boot if we had to travel anywhere. And I thought, okay, which was fine. And I told him that, I wanted to tell him I would wear a boot and cross the desert if it was someone I really connected with, right? But I said, I can tell that you have really connected with 3 or 4 other women. And I think he said, I can't deny that, or I can't argue about that. And that was true. And so I decided to self-eliminate because coupled with the injury and not really feeling like there was a connection, I thought, well, it's probably time to go.
What does this then say to you going forward? You've had this experience, and it really does sound like it was a good one. And does this sort of open new vistas to you after having done this? Are you going to be dating again, I guess?
Absolutely. I think I'm more self-confident. I have dated in the past since my husband passed away, but I just haven't met the right guy. And it's true. You really do have to put yourself out there. And I think I was a little shyer about those things. And now I realize that you really do have to put yourself out there. And I decided when I had the opportunity to come on the show, that was a big step for me. Like, oh my gosh, now people are going to see it, and okay, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I did. And you know what? I'm proud of myself. And in addition to meeting Gerry, who's, an incredible guy, I met 21 other amazing women, and as well as the producers and executive producers who were all lovely.
And I want to ask you about the rest of the cast here, because the thing I hear is the difference between the Golden Bachelor and the other series is how much more collegial the group is. I mean, there's a lot of sitting around afterwards, and everyone agrees that this is, and it seems to have helped them on their journeys. And I don't think you get that nearly as much in the other series. Was that what you come away with?
Without a doubt. I remember we had a talent show, that you saw part of it probably. And we were interviewed after that, and someone said, "How did you feel?" And I said, "I felt like watching the other women. It was like I was cheering for when my daughter was 6 years old and she was in her first play. Like we were all cheering for each other. It wasn't cat scratch fever. We were all rooting for each other. We were very supportive. And I think too, when you bring this many women together who have all had a horrible either divorce, or like in my case, my husband passed away from colon cancer, or there were some women there whose husbands had died of suicide, that we'd all lived and had these different experiences. And so I think when other people are in your boat, you can sit there and even not say anything and you're connected.
How has your family reacted to all this?
Well, first my niece applied me for the show. So that was good. I didn't think it would ever happen, kind of like when you win the lottery and you think, right, I'll never win. But then when I got asked to join the show, I talked to my 3 children who are all, between 20 and 30. And they said, "Mom, do it. Like, you need to get out more." So I said, okay. I thought, you know what? I don't have anything to lose, and I certainly have a lot to gain. And it just really, like I said, revitalized my feeling about getting out there and, not just getting out there looking for a date, but doing more things and, play a new sport. Like I tried pickleball. I'd never played pickleball. And then all of a sudden I'm in front of how many people? I was scared to death. But those kinds of things. And I think, then that's the way you meet more people.
So you don't hold your injury against the game itself. That just happened.
No, I'm getting right back out there.
There you go. All right. So if the producers come to you and say, "Nancy, we want you to be the Golden Bachelorette," would you do it?
Without a doubt, yes. Yes, it was fabulous.
That's pretty unqualified. Is there anything I've missed? What do you want to say that I haven't asked you about, so we can make sure we get it on the record here?
Well, I think you've covered it. The other thing I did do is be my true self. Mm-hmm. I didn't study the show. I had seen the show before, but I didn't study it. I went in there just wide open, ready for the experience, but I was also very cognizant of being my own person and being true to myself. And I'm really glad I did. And that's what I would say to other people who might want to do it. Like, be yourself. You don't have to put on an act. You don't have to be overly dramatic. You don't have to be this or that. Just be yourself, and it'll all work out.
That's very reassuring too.
Yeah.
Nancy, many thanks. This is great. And first of all, congratulations on having done this, because I think that's a leap of faith. Those of us of a certain age, think about things like that, and sure. It's good to see that it was such a positive thing for it. And thanks for doing this too.
Thank you. Nice to see you.